Becoming a fossil is ridiculously rare. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning while winning the lottery than having your bones preserved for millions of years. So it's no surprise that, compared to the total number of living things, fossils are shockingly uncommon. And yet Earth has been teeming with life for billions of years. Even right now, quintillions of animals are sharing this planet with us. So while fossilization is rare, the sheer scale of life means that fossils still show up in massive numbers. Entire industries have been built around finding, studying, and selling them. But here's the catch. For all the bones, shells, and ancient remnants we've dug up, most fossil discoveries are kind of predictable. They belong to known groups, new species of things we've already cataloged. Another had a slightly different trilobite. You get the idea. But every now and then, something turns up that doesn't fit the puzzle. Something that baffles scientists for decades or even longer. These are the fossils that feel like glitches in the record of life. Things so strange, so alien, that we're still scratching our heads trying to figure out what they were. And perhaps no fossil better captures that mystery than the infamous Ptolemy. Nicknamed the Tolly Monster, this bizarre creature was discovered in 1958 in the Mazon Creek Formation in Illinois. An amateur fossil hunter stumbled across strange remains buried in a prehistoric mudstone and brought them to the Field Museum in Chicago. What he found wasn't just weird, it was The fossil had a long tube-like body, stalked eyes, fins like a squid, and a long segmented proboscis ending in a claw-like mouth. It looked like a creature straight out of a horror video game, and yet it was tiny, only about 14 inches long, but its size didn't make it any easier to identify. For decades, paleontologists debated what it could be. Was it a mollusk? An arthropod? A worm? Maybe even a jawless vertebrate? No one could say for sure. The only point of agreement was that it lived in shallow marine waters, freely swimming through the murky ocean. Fast forward almost 90 years and we still don't really know what it was. The best we can say is that it was probably a butt, which basically just means it had a left and right side. That's it. That's the conclusion after decades of study. It's a testament to how alien this thing really was. But Tully isn't alone. In fact, not far from where it was found, another creature was unearthed. That might be even more confusing. Meet Typhlosus, soon officially known as the alien goldfish, discovered in the 1970s in the Bear Gulch limestone of Montana. This creature dates back around 330 million years. And at first glance, it looked like a small, unassuming swimmer. It had a spindle-shaped body, a tail, and that's about it. No limbs, no anus, no midsection, just a smooth, gut-filled blob with a weird internal organ we've never seen in any other fossil now, called the Pterodiscus. Why? Because it's full of iron. What does it do? No one knows. When researchers tried to classify it, they gave up. It sat in museum drawers for years, because no one wanted to touch the mystery. Eventually, someone proposed it might be a conodonte type of jawless, E-like creature. And for a while, this idea held up, until it didn't. A new specimen showed conodont teeth inside the Typhlosus, but they were located in the digestive tract, meaning the creature hadn't been one of them. It had eaten one. Back to square one. Then, in 2022, a wild new idea emerged. What if Typhlosus was a bizarre one, sure, but a mollusk nonetheless. It had a toothy, extendable, tongue-like organ, a bit like the radula of modern mollusks. But there's a catch. Radulas have evolved independently in other groups too. So even now, it's just a maybe. That's the thing about these fossils. Every time we get closer to an answer, the fossil throws us Sometimes the weirdness doesn't even come solo. Sometimes, it comes in pairs. Back at the Mazon Creek site, the same place they gave us the Tully monster, researchers found two other bizarre fossils that were so odd. They ended up being described using letters of the alphabet. No joke, nicknamed the H and Y animals. Atticista, H1 looked, well, like the letter H, a segmented body with strange protrusions and a bulbous central sac that varied wildly between specimens. Some were circular, others heart-shaped. It might have been a filter feeder, or maybe a colonial organism that grew throughout its life. Some researchers tentatively link it to hemicardids, but no one knows for sure. Escamation the Y-Anamayo is just as strange. Its body was Y-shaped with a wide slit where a mouth should be, located between what appeared to be limbs. Though no one can say for sure if they even were limbs, it resembled a sea anemone, but had features those creatures don't. Bilateral symmetry, a complete digestive system, and get this, but it's almost like evolution tried a bunch of prototypes and then scrapped the blueprints. But if you really want to see evolution go off the rails, you need to look further back to the Ediacaran period. This was before the Cambrian explosion, over 600 million years ago. And the life forms that show up in these rocks, they make modern aliens look tame. Take the fossil Namacalathus. It looks like something you'd find in a fever dream, a fleshy tree with a calcified skeleton. Tentacles, check. Spines, check. Bizarre openings in every shape imaginable. Check, this thing didn't just resemble an alienite, was basically the blueprint for one. Then there's it's been called a living bath mat, flat, oval-shaped, ridged, and mobile. Yes, it moved. Slowly, but it moved. There were dozens of weird, soft-bodied organisms like this, so many that paleontologists had to create a whole new group, the Proarticulata. These creatures defied expectations. Some had near symmetry but weren't quite symmetrical. Others had no obvious mouth, gut, or sensory organs. They might not even have descendancy, but the weirdness doesn't stop in the ancient past. Let's rewind even further, all the way back to the Rhyatian period, over 2.1 billion years ago. In Gabon, Africa, scientists discovered what they call the Franzvillian biota, found in layers of black shale. These structures are strange: discs, strings, tubes, flowers. They might be the oldest multicellular life ever discovered, or they might not be life at all. Some researchers argue they're just mineral formations. We're talking about fossils so old and confusing, we're not sure if they're fossils. That's how weird this gets. And yet, even fossils that look normal can throw science into chaos. Case in point, Nectar. Originally discovered in 1910, this tiny creature was dubbed the swimming shrimp. For decades, it sat misclassified in museum drawers. Then, new specimens were found and, suddenly it looked more like a 2 tentacles, large eyes, a funnel-like structure that Matov worked, like a reversible mouth. Was this the world's first squid? Maybe, but the fossil predates known cephalopods by 30 million years, and it doesn't fit the evolutionary timeline. So once again, we're back in no man's. In the end, these fossils remind us of something important. We like to think we understand the history of life, but time and time again, ancient creatures laugh in the face of our logic. Some look like aliens, others like nightmares, some leave behind clues, while others offer nothing but questions. Fossils aren't just windows into the past. They're reminders of how little we know and how much is still waiting to be discovered. So next time you walk through a museum, remember, some of those fossils aren't just ancient. They're unsolved mysteries, and who knows, maybe one day, someone like you will be the one to crack them.